Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tinkham-Veal University Center. This is brand new at Case Western Reserve. Usually we have our events over at the law school, and we do actually have a brand new refurbished moot courtroom, but it only holds 100 people, and we actually have 180 people signed up for today. So we're really excited to be able to be here. The events will be here, breakout sessions will be here and downstairs. There will be signs to show you the way. Food will be served outside, lunch will be in here, and then the dinner at the end, well, the food at the end from 5 to 6 will be right out on the patio, which will be nice. You get a chance to mingle. So I'm Michael Scharf. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the co-dean at Case Western Reserve University, and on behalf of my co-dean Jessica Berg, myself, the faculty of the law school, we welcome you. We give you a huge welcome to the 25th anniversary conference of the founding and endowment of the Frederick K. Cox International Law Center. So I was thinking about what happened 25 years ago. For one thing, the students I have weren't even born, but many of you, I look around, you were around, and you probably remember that year, 1990. It was the year the Simpsons TV show debuted. Also, the Hubble telescope was launched, and it's still up there taking wonderful pictures. The popular films of the day included Home Alone, Hunt for Red October, and Dick Tracy, which starred one of our current faculty members, Charlie Corismo, who played the 8-year-old sidekick to Madonna and Dick Tracy. For those of you who are speakers and were at the Rock Hall last night, Charlie was the piano player for the band. That was the same year that the United States invaded Panama, and we got Noriega, who spent a lot of years in an American jail. Saddam Hussein that year invaded Kuwait, and the United States and its allies commenced Operation Desert Storm. Nelson Mandela was finally released after his long detention in South Africa. The Berlin Wall came down, and East and West Germany were united. And this one I think is particularly interesting when you think about Vladimir Putin and what he's been doing lately. The Soviet premier at the time, Gorbachev, won the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, that was also the year that the Frederick K. Cox International Law Center received a $3 million endowment from the Gun Foundation. And over the next 25 years, the Cox Center has climbed up in the rankings to the number 11th ranked international law program in the United States. It's the first international law program that had a MOOC, a massive open online course, which is on demand and free, and it's an international criminal law, and you can take it anytime you want. There are these little flyers back there on the desk if you want to check it out. We're the only program with our own radio show called Talking Foreign Policy on National Public Radio in the Cleveland station. We have had over 110 students interned at international tribunals. 7 of our grads are prosecutors and legal advisors and defense counsel at the international tribunals. And we've had every year a major international conference like this one. This conference is particularly exciting. We are looking back at the international law legacy of the 6 years of the Obama administration, and it's an appropriate time because we're already in an election cycle, and the Republicans and even the Democrats will be talking about how they are going to differentiate themselves from the status quo of the Obama administration. This conference would not be possible but for the generosity of the Wolf Family Foundation and its patron, James Wolf. I don't think he's here with us right now, but I'm sure he'll be watching the webcast, and I want to say, Jim, well, no, I think he's coming in. Jim Wolf? No? Okay. Anyway, my eyes aren't that good. But I think he'll be watching this, and I want to do a shout out to him because your generosity and the Wolf Family Foundation has made this conference flourish, and we also are able every year to take all of the articles that the conference generates and send them to every international law professor in the country. And because of that, our International Law Journal is one of the most cited international law journals. I also want to thank the American branch of the International Law Association, and we have its president, David Stewart, right there, and he's going to be saying some remarks in just a moment. But before he does, I want to thank our organizing committee. So the law professors who teach international law at Case Western are an amazing group. And so Tim Webster, are you out there? There. Tim Webster chaired this conference. He put this all together. He came up with the title. He came up with the panel ideas, and together with our colleagues, he helped organize all the panels. This is Tim Webster. Juscelino Caleres, where are you? Juscelino. Oh, you're out there somewhere because I saw you. There you are. Big shout out to Juscelino Caleres, a great panel that is going to be about trade and climate change. I hope everybody really enjoys that one. And everything that Juscelino does as the Associate Director for the Cox Center is greatly appreciated. Richard Gordon, are you here this morning yet? He'll probably be coming in later. He put together the International Tax Panel. And then Avi Cover, are you here? You'll be coming in later. He put together the panel on national security. So wonderful colleagues, and you're going to meet them all, and you're going to meet our wonderful panelists today. It's going to be an exciting conference, and we're going to start things off with David Stewart from the American branch of the International Law Association, because this is International Law Weekend Midwest. David.
Thank you, Mike. And on behalf of the American branch of the International Law Association, I want to thank you and the Case Western Reserve University School of Law for allowing us to designate this terrific event as one of our main programs, International Law Weekend Midwest. I've actually known Codeine Scharf for, well, let's see, longer than 25 years, but more importantly, since long before there was any gray in his beard. But even before you had a beard. But I've never seen him perform on the stage at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before last night. It was a terrific event, and if only some of his clients a long time ago could have seen it, it would have been quite a thing. It's a delight to see, Michael, what you've done with this program here at Case Western, you and your colleagues. You deserve great congratulations for the strength of your program. International Law Weekend Midwest is one of several major events that the American branch sponsors during the year. For those of you who don't know, the International Law Association itself is a worldwide non-governmental organization dedicated to developing and restating international law in all of its various dimensions. Headquartered in London, but it consists of independent branches from all over the world, more than 50 national and regional branches, and the American branch is one of the largest and most active. Dean Scharf is one of our most active members and serves on our executive committee. In addition to sponsoring events such as this one, we also have a two-day conference in New York, which we call International Law Weekend. This will take place in New York in early November, the 5th and the 6th. This year. You're all invited. Simply Google American Branch of the International Law Association. You'll find the program and the registration. For those of you who are students, the important thing is that registration is free. And we encourage everybody to attend, whether you're a student, a professor, a practitioner, anybody interested in international law. If you want to know more about the branch, we have some brochures out on the table in front, and also our most recent newsletter, which would give you more than a good sense of what we're involved in. So thank you very much. I hope you will have a look at our material, and thank you, Mike, for allowing us to co-sponsor this event.
Thank you very much. And you'll be seeing Dave Stewart later in the program today on our panel about dealing with the Mideast crisis. I do want to mention one other thing about Dave. When he was a senior legal advisor at the State Department, he was teaching a course on international criminal law at Georgetown, and he was on the road a lot. So he asked me if I'd guest teach, and the next year he asked me if I'd co-teach, and the third year he said, why don't you take over my course? I would not be here if it wasn't for that. Thank you, Dave. All right, so our next presenter is a really special and also a longtime friend of the Cox Center and of myself personally. It's Don Ferenz, who is the executive director of the Planethood Foundation, an expert in international criminal law, and he's got a big project on the crime of aggression. And the Planethood Foundation sponsored a really awesome essay contest. And you're going to hear about that in the winter, and hear also from Don's father, who's going to be beamed to us. So let's have a big welcome for Don Ferenz.
Thanks very much, Mike. And thanks to all of you for being here. I would just like to take a moment just to set the stage about what this essay contest was all about. Mike took us back 25 years. Many of you in this audience will know that if we go back 70 years, we will see the Nuremberg trials were being held. My dad was a prosecutor at the Nuremberg trials. These were subsequent proceedings put on by the Americans after the first four-power trial. And my dad opened his case saying the case we present is a plea of humanity to law. Some of you in this room will know that today the tables are slightly turned. We have the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. We have amendments on the crime of aggression trying to help that court activate its jurisdiction over the crime of aggression, which was hailed at Nuremberg as the supreme international crime. And the reason I say that today the tables are turned, at Nuremberg they had a plea of humanity to law. The Rome Statute represents a plea of law to humanity. All of the world to get behind the Rome Statute and the International Criminal Court system and to support it. And I just want to begin by saying that in 1946, Harry Truman, as president, stood before the General Assembly. It was after the Nuremberg judgment, and he said that 23 members of the United Nations have already bound themselves by the law of the Nuremberg Charter and Judgment, which says that planning or waging an aggressive war, and this is his language, is, quote, a crime against humanity for which leaders will be brought before the bar of international justice. So with that in mind as the backdrop, this essay was intended to pose the question, if you undertake an illegal use of force, can you be shielded by what is referred to very commonly as the laws and customs of war? In other words, if you kill people according to the customs of war, can you get off scot-free, even if the incursion itself, the military intervention itself, is illegal? So that's what the essay was about. And we had quite a few entries, 137 entries from over 50 countries. They were anonymously graded and ranked in terms of priority by several judges who are here with us today. David Crane, former chief prosecutor of the Special Court for Sierra Leone. Dave, would you raise your hand? James Johnson, former president of the Robert Jackson Center and chief trial attorney in the Charles Taylor trial. I know you're here someplace. Paul Williams, president of PILPG. Milena Styrio, associate dean of Cleveland Marshall College of Law. I'm not sure if she's with us this morning. She may have teaching duties. And Michael Scharf, co-dean, who you know. Okay, with that, what I would like to do is roll a 3.5-minute video clip of my dad, who wanted to address you this morning, although he couldn't be here in person. And then I'm going to announce the winners of this contest. Cue the video.
Good morning. My name is Benjamin Ferenz. I have reached my 96th year, and I'm asked to share with you everything that I've learned which relates to your topic. I think I can summarize it in 3 words: law, not war. If you think about that, if we could stop war by law, what a change it would make in our society. We would have funds enough to care for the poor, for students, etc., and we would have a completely transformed world. But how do you do that? First of all, what do you mean by law? That has been pretty adequately defined already in the United Nations Charter. The use of armed force is permissible only in self-defense or if mandated by the United Nations Security Council. If those conditions, or one of those conditions, is not met, it's illegal. And illegal use of armed force should be condemned as a crime for which the individuals are held accountable. Crime is committed by individuals, and leading individuals who plan and perpetrate massive crimes knowing that it will kill large numbers of innocent civilians should not be allowed to go free. We are beginning to act on that awareness by having already the International Criminal Court. With all of its shortcomings, it is a prototype, and it leads the way. We have many national courts, so we've got to reach out to the lawbreakers by whatever legal mechanism we have, whether it be the ICC, national courts, principles of universal jurisdiction which should be applicable, as well as civil lawsuits. Hit them in the pocket nerve. Let the leaders know that if they illegally use armed force, killing large numbers of civilians, knowing that it will happen, they're not going to walk free. If you want to have a more peaceful world, that's necessary, but you need more supporting things before you can get there. You have to change the way people think about war, which is now glorified. They send young people out to kill young people they don't even know, who may have done them no harm. That has got to change. There have to be a willingness to compromise, a willingness to see the other fellow's point of view. You have to reach out to re-educate all the young people through all of the media of education, whether it be the churches or the schools, and now the new high technology. All of these things are necessary. Can it be done? Of course it can be done. I have seen in my lifetime how we have recognized such things as the equality of women. The United States Constitution gave them no right to vote or own property. We have seen the acceptance of the idea that a black person doesn't automatically belong and be inferior to a white person. These are simple things. They are not to perfection. We will not stop all crime, but we will begin to deter it, and that is the object. We want to deter it by letting them know the days of using armed force to settle problems and letting the protagonists do it are over. From now on, the law as defined in Nuremberg should become the law. The use of armed force is a universal crime, and the individuals accountable should be held to law. Look at my website and you'll get more details, and I wish you all the best of luck. Goodbye.
Before I announce the contest winners, I know, of course, the people in the audience have not read the essays. They will be published. But I want to share a little snippet written in 1758 by a Swiss jurist by the name of Emmerich de Vattel. And I think if we had been running this contest in 1758, we may have had him submit this submission. I'm going to read you just a little bit. It's a paragraph. He talks about the ruler who takes his nation into what he calls an unjust war. Today we'd say an illegal war in violation of the UN Charter, meaning it's not authorized by the Security Council or in self-defense after an attack. Here's what he said. He said, "Whoever therefore takes up arms without a lawful cause can absolutely have no right whatever. Every act of hostility that he commits is an act of injustice." He says he's chargeable with all the evils, all the horrors of the war, the effusion of blood, the desolation of families, the rape and the acts of violence, the ravages, the conflagrations are his works and his crimes. He's guilty of a crime against the enemy, who he attacks, oppresses, and massacres without cause. He is guilty of a crime against his people, whom he forces into acts of injustice and exposes to danger without reason or necessity. Against those of his subjects who are ruined or distressed by the war, who lose their lives, their property, or their health in consequence of it. Finally, he is guilty of a crime against mankind in general, whose peace he disturbs and to whom he sets a pernicious example. And now for our winners. The first place was an award of $10,000 in cash, which goes to Rachel E. Van Landingham of Southwestern Law School, Associate Professor of Law. The second place, which is a $2,500 award, is to Thomas Harris, a student at the University of Maastricht. The third place is shared between three co-authors. It is also a prize of $2,500 between Harrison Mbori Otieno, who is at the University of Nairobi, Kenya, Emma Wabuki, also from the University of Nairobi in Kenya, and Smith Otieno, also at the University of Nairobi. So great congratulations to the three of them, and best of luck in their future careers as well.